There's escaped convicts on the loose, and they're running around in this area. They got a helicopter spotlighting a bunch of FBI agents and about 50 other cops.
Breaking news tops our show this morning. The Barksdales are now in custody. After over 2 weeks on the run, the husband and wife murder suspects have been arrested right here in Arizona. Thank you for starting your morning with Today in AZ. I'm Paul Gerke.
And I'm Rachel McNeil. Blaine and Susan Barksdale have been on the run since they escaped police custody back in August. Last night, investigators arrested the two up near Tonto Basin. Let's get straight out to Tricia Hendricks, who is live near Tonto Basin this morning. Tricia, what happened?
Tense moments here last night in Tonto Basin, guys. The U.S. Marshals telling 12 News it was here in Tonto Basin where Blaine and Susan Barksdale were finally taken into custody. Now, the Barksdales have been on the run for about 3 weeks after escaping from a prison transport van when they were being brought back here to Arizona accused of a murder down in Tucson. A witness who lives in the Tonto Basin area sent us this video here. He tells us there were dozens of law enforcement officers right here in this area yesterday.
I noticed the helicopters shining, looking all over, and there was cop vehicles behind their house. Like 10 vehicles came from behind my house that I didn't even know was there. You know, this is a small town, and I know I never expected nothing like this close to here, no.
Now, the U.S. Marshals tell 12 News the Barksdales are going to be taken back down to Tucson to face murder charges. And investigators plan to release more information later on this morning. And we will be there to capture all the new details at a news conference later on this morning, again at 11 o'clock. Live in Tonto Basin, Tricia Hendricks, Today in AZ.
Thanks for that update, Tricia. If you're unfamiliar with this story or just need a little refresher, let's take a step back and take a look at what led up to the Barksdales' arrests and how that couple escaped in the first place. Let's connect the dots. Blaine and Susan Barksdale are accused of killing a 72-year-old man in Tucson and setting his house on fire back in April. They were found a month later in upstate New York and arrested. Then on August 26th, the couple was being brought back to Arizona when U.S. Marshals say Susan Barksdale faked a medical emergency. The two are believed to have attacked and overpowered two security guards, later taking off in a red pickup truck.
We feel that they armed and dangerous. I must add that they could be anywhere in the U.S.
Just 2 days ago, U.S. Marshals put Blaine Barksdale on its top 15 most wanted list and increased the reward for the couple's capture. As Tricia told us a moment ago, those fugitives will be taken to Tucson to face the charges against them. Officials are set to hold the news conference this morning at around 11 a.m. to provide more information about the arrest. Make sure to stay up to date with 12 News and the 12 News app for the breaking details in this case.
And now to this morning's other big story. A 23-year-old former teacher's aide has been arrested, accused of sending nude photos and videos to a teenage student.
These are the facts we know right now. Police say that woman you just saw, Christmas White, was arrested Wednesday morning. She taught at Greenway Middle School last year.
Well, Team 12's Jen Wall is live outside the 4th Avenue jail. Jen, what do we know about what happened?
Yeah, good morning to you guys. So I just stepped out of the jail. I was watching that initial appearance, and it looks like Christmas White has not seen the judge yet, but she is expected to stand before that judge any minute now this morning. She was arrested yesterday and booked here behind me at the 4th Avenue jail. Again, her name Christmas White. She worked at Greenway Middle School in Phoenix and is charged on 2 counts, one for aggravated luring a minor for sex and another for furnishing obscene material to a minor. The investigation started at the end of last month. Police say nude photos and videos of White were sent to a teen student's phone. Right now, investigators are working on finding out the extent of the relationship, who was involved, and how long White allegedly sent the photos and videos. She worked at the school last year and her contract ended in May. The Paradise Valley Unified School District sent a letter to parents and say White passed all of the background checks. Now again, White is scheduled to see that judge here in the next few minutes at the 4th Avenue jail. I'm going to pop back in there and we will bring you live updates throughout the morning on this breaking story. Back to you.
All right, Jen, thanks so much. We have a lot of big stories developing this morning, but of course we cannot overlook the beautiful start to our day.
After 41 days in a row, we got a break from the triple digits yesterday. Today, we're back into triple digit territory, but this morning featuring just delightful numbers. In fact, look at Flagstaff. 37 degrees at the moment. If you're wondering if that's record breaking, the record today is actually 25, set in 1985. But temperatures will continue their decline until sunrise. 59 at the moment in Payson, 83 in Phoenix, 70 in Yuma and Tucson, waking up to 72. This is where we're going to find ourselves maxing out today. 101 for Phoenix, 91 in Globe, double 8 Sedona, Prescott at 84, and Kingman cracking into 90-degree territory, maxing out at 92. Vanessa, how are the roads looking?
Not too bad at 5:38 or 5:35 this morning. We do have a stalled vehicle and a new accident that popped up on our maps here, but let's focus on that stalled vehicle first. It's on the Loop 202 eastbound near the Van Buren Street exit, so remember that when you're getting off the freeway. No major delays on the freeway from that stalled vehicle. And now we have this new accident that popped up. It's on the I-10 eastbound at 7th Street. No major traffic around the accident. However, we do have some traffic building up at the Stack and the 17 southbound Durango curve as well, so just remember that when you're heading out. For the West Valley, busy traffic on the I-10 heading east as you approach 83rd Avenue. It's moving at 35 miles per hour and it continues at that speed all the way towards the Stack there, so you stay in the orange zone the whole way. So it's definitely busy out there in the West Valley already early this morning. And if you want to see how fast the other freeways are moving, just go ahead and take a look at our speed feed. Rachel?
Thank you, Vanessa. Let's get you up to speed now on the stories you need to know to start your morning. A former DPS trooper has been arrested and charged with 61 criminal counts, including sexual abuse and kidnapping. Investigators say that arrested Tremaine Jackson after investigating a complaint that he sexually assaulted a woman during a traffic stop. At least 8 women have come forward, and police believe there could be more. If you think you're one of Jackson's victims, you can fill out a complaint on 12news.com. The FBI says it needs your help identifying a bank robbery suspect. You can see the person here. Investigators say the suspect robbed a Wells Fargo on Main Street in Snowflake Monday. He got away with some cash, and fortunately no one was hurt. If you know who he is, call police. A Grand Canyon University student who is a minor says that she was sexually abused by this man, Joshua Basolto, who works at GCU. The teen says she came to GCU from out of town, and Basolto was the only person she knew in the area, so he offered her to stay in a spare bedroom at his home. She says Basolto then forced himself on her and touched her inappropriately. Basolto is charged with sexual conduct with a minor and sexual abuse. Well, you're not up to speed. You can always find the latest news on our website, 12news.com, or the free 12 News app.
I got too much more than that. It's too hard for me. But I found him. It was the worst night of my life you could ever imagine.
That was Tim Warnock, the father of Mitch Warnock, a Corona del Sol student who died by suicide. This week is National Suicide Prevention Week. Someone dies by suicide every 40 seconds. It is the most preventable cause of death. This morning, we want to hear from you. Who do you think should be responsible for mental health? Should teachers be responsible for the mental health of their students? Text us your thoughts right now, 602-444-1212. We bring this up because yesterday Governor Doug Ducey signed the Mitch Warnock Act, which requires teachers to be trained to look for warning signs and red flags that could possibly indicate a student is a danger to themselves. Ducey believes this legislation will save lives. Tim Warnock thinks his son's life may have been spared if this bill was back in place back in 2016. You've been weighing in on this topic all morning long on our Facebook page. Let's take a look at some of your comments. A lot of people seem to agree with Sharon here. She says everyone who is involved in the child's life is responsible. They see everything, and it takes a village. Jill, however, is a little worried that this is an extra bit of work on the backs of already underpaid teachers. She's not the only one that feels that way. Kay says what the teachers need is more funding, not more work. Let's get more supplies, more food for the kids, and school books for everyone. I bet this will help with the suicide crisis. If you have something you'd like to add to this discussion, go to our 12 News page right now or send us a text. Our number is 602-444-1212.
All right, Crystal, what's the one thing we need to know when it comes to our forecast today?
Kind of seems like monsoon is make-believe, and you're definitely going to feel that today when we're just flatlined on the monsoon meter. No chances for showers or storms today. Vanessa, what's one thing with traffic?
That we have some busy traffic in the West Valley on the I-10 heading east as you approach 83rd Avenue, and it continues all the way towards downtown Phoenix. We're in the orange zone, and it's moving about 35 miles per hour. Rachel?
Thank you, Vanessa. Checking your pulse on health this morning. We've been talking about the dangers of vaping nonstop, and now lawmakers are getting involved. President Trump announced that his administration is working to ban the sale of flavored e-cigarette products. The new ban, which will take effect in a few weeks, will cover both online and in-store sales of all e-cig flavors except tobacco. Planned Parenthood hopes to extend its app to all 50 states by the end of next year. Right now, the app is only available in 27 states. The organization uses it to help people order birth control and antibiotics for urinary tract infections. The app was first introduced back in 2014. To date, the free resource has been downloaded at least 300,000 times. And lastly, a small act of kindness by your boss could help you feel better and work harder. Researchers from Penn State say being kind to your employees on a regular basis can help them feel less depressed. Experts also say if an employee feels like their boss is invested in them, the person will then feel more serious about their work. What do you think, Paul? Everybody deserves a pat on the back every once in a while.
A little old attaboy. I would also take that attaboy in the form of a bonus. Just cold, hard cash always says
lobbying
job,
for
right?
that. Yeah, how's that going?
I get
Still
paid
ahead.
tomorrow.
You do get paid tomorrow. Still ahead on Today in AZ, a win for the White House. Details on President Trump's immigration victory.
Plus, a family historian for someone else's kin. How a lucky find brought a group of strangers together.
Plus, it's a messy job, but someone has to do it. The Valley Business giving artists a place to work without worrying about the cleanup.
You go to paint on this lonesome old town. Set 'em up, we'll be knocking them down. You wear a dress, babe, now wear a tie.
Now, from the 12 News 9 team, Hacienda Healthcare rape case.
The I-team uncovering dramatic new details, including nurse observations about the raped woman's stomach and the suspect's reported changes in behavior.
Developing now, a woman struggling to pay her electric bill dies in her hot house after APS shut off the power.
And I stayed at so for $51 to ended my mother's life.
Now, nearly a year later, APS is making a change.
Weather alert, the heat warning expiring. So how low will the mercury go?
Plane plunge, one man's heroics to pull the pilot from the burning wreckage.
I just went in again and noticed that his seatbelt and his clothes were burnt off his body.
I was throwing up like every other hour and I couldn't keep anything down.
A vacationing Valley teen telling his terrifying tale of being diagnosed with a potentially deadly infection while half a world away from his parents.
That's my main goal, is just getting back to Arizona.
The 9 team tracking the facts for you.
12 News at 10 starts right now.
Good evening, everyone. Up first, the 12 News I-team is uncovering explosive new facts in the Hacienda Healthcare rape case. It involves an incapacitated woman giving birth at the Phoenix facility. The newly released police report is more than 600 pages on the initial phase of an investigation leading cops to their suspect, Nathan Sutherland.
Team 12's Ryan Cody joins us live with what we're learning about the investigation tonight. Ryan?
Well, a lot of the reports coming out over the last several months are now being confirmed by what police heard from employees at Hacienda Healthcare. But we're also learning new details about suspicious behavior from the suspect. And now that he's facing rape charges, some of these details making a little bit more sense.
One of our patients just had a baby and we had no idea she was pregnant.
Did anyone know about it? I can't answer that question.
How could this have been missed?
We have developmentally disabled patients there.
I can't wrap my brain around how that's even a possibility.
By now, most of you know the story. An incapacitated woman gives birth at this specialty care facility in South Phoenix. Cops immediately launching an investigation because the only logical explanation is sexual assault. And this is what investigators are finding. A police report more than 600 pages long, interviews with dozens of employees at Hacienda Healthcare, some casting an early suspicion on the eventual suspect, Nathan Sutherland. One person telling cops he was acting different. He used to be positive, but then became distant, going through a divorce and possibly on the brink of suicide. Another employee saying Sutherland would say, quote, "Pray for me, and I'm hoping for a miracle." All of this in the weeks leading up to the patient giving birth.
We had no idea this person was pregnant.
The report also confirms this particular patient was only permitted to have female caregivers, but not everyone thinking that applied to nurses as well. Overall, shock from the employees, but several details helping cops narrow in on Nathan Sutherland, who is now awaiting trial for rape. Now, most of the employees were initially surprised during their interviews with police because welfare checks were performed on the victim every 15 minutes or so, and it would be odd for her to be alone with the door closed for any extended period of time. The I-Team is continuing to pour through the report, and we'll bring you those details tomorrow. Guys, back over to you.
Ryan, thank you. If you have any tips about this story, please email the 12 News I-Team at connect@12news.com. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter as well.
Right now, we are following breaking news from the road where fire crews are on the scene of a rollover crash on the 51 near Indian School Road. These are the facts that we know right now. Here's a live look as well. At least 5 people were hurt. It's not clear how they're doing at this point. Investigators are working to learn the cause of that crash. Part of the 51 is still closed. It's unclear when it will reopen, but we'll certainly keep you updated right here on 12 News and our social media platforms as well. Now to another big story developing in the Valley concerning Arizona's largest power company. APS says it's going to temporarily stop disconnecting anyone who is behind on their power bill.
This as the company responds to revelations that a woman died in her home last September. APS shut off the Sun City's woman's power on a 107-degree day.
Team 12's Joe Dana shows us why news of the death comes during a time APS is already defending its shutoff policies. Joe?
As we first reported 2 weeks ago, APS disconnected power to an unusually high amount of customers last year. The first full year the company's controversial rate increases went into effect. Now, a grim reminder of the worst possible outcome if someone loses their power. A Sun City home now undergoing renovations last September became a heat trap for 72-year-old Stephanie Pullman. The retiree on a fixed income of $1,000 a month was struggling to pay her electricity bills. State documents show Pullman owed $176 to APS. In good faith, she paid most of it on September 5th, $125. But 2 days later, APS shut off her electricity anyways.
You can't shut off someone's electric at 107-degree temperature on an elderly woman.
That's Stephanie's daughter speaking to 12 News by phone Thursday after the Phoenix New-Times broke the story about the tragedy. The county medical examiner concluding heat exposure was a contributing cause. After her death, Pullman's family contacted APS demanding answers.
And I stated, so for $51, you ended my mother's life. At that point, they said they were sorry.
CEO Don Brandt declining to answer questions at 12 News today. Instead, a customer service employee presenting this video on Twitter.
First and foremost, our hearts go out to this customer's friends and to her family. We will be doing a thorough evaluation of our disconnection policies, and we'll be bringing together community organizations, limited income advocates, and others.
Corporation commissioners regulate utility companies. Today, they are calling for an investigation into the events before and after Pullman's death. Joe Dana, 12 News.
Joe, thank you. Now let's get to a weather alert. And Lindsay, the high heat, it's going to take a breather for tomorrow, right?
Yeah, it actually lasts through the majority of next week. Our average high is 104. We topped out at 107 today. We're done with the excessive heat for the next 7 days at least in the valley. Currently at 98 in Phoenix, 79 degrees up towards Sedona. Overnight lows tonight will dip to about 79 degrees. That'll happen at 6 a.m. Mainly clear skies, and those wind speeds are also going to lighten up through the overnight as well. So our elevated fire danger that we had today should get a little bit lower around the area tomorrow. Here's an hour-by-hour look at your Friday. We're expecting lots of sunshine, but by the lunch hour, we're already going to be up to 97, and we'll cross into those triple digits by 2 o'clock. Mike?
All right, Lindsay, thanks so much. Firefighters still working to get the Woodbury flames burning near Superior under control. The human-caused blaze has been burning since last week. It shows no signs of slowing down.
So far, the roaring flames have destroyed more than 10,000 acres of land, and it is not contained at all. Here are the facts unfolding in some of tonight's other hot headlines. First, a man is in critical condition after Mesa police shot him near Country Club and Broadway. Police say they tried to pull over Jose Preciado, but he refused to stop. After a short chase, the 32-year-old and another suspect ditched the car and ran. Investigators say one of the suspects pulled out a gun, so an officer shot him several times. This marks the 23rd officer-involved shooting in Maricopa County this year.
And now to Decision 2020 in the race for president. Democrat and presidential candidate Julian Castro says he could be the first Latino politician to win in Arizona in almost half-century.
The former HUD secretary and San Antonio mayor is the only one of 24 Democratic candidates to make a stop here in Arizona.
And Castro appearing at a town hall in Tempe, but during an interview with Team 12's Bram Resnick, he focuses on the centerpiece of his campaign, the need for police reform. He's citing the video this week showing Phoenix cops swearing and pointing their weapons at an African-American family after an alleged shoplifting incident.
I know there are a lot of police officers that are doing a good job. I served as mayor, so I know that. I also know that there have been too many instances that we've seen where especially young black men have been mistreated by police, sometimes killed. And that was unnecessary. The use of force was unnecessary. And I believe that the federal government has a role to play in ensuring that the rights of all citizens are protected.
Castro is polling nationally at about 1%, but says he plans to make some gains during the Democratic presidential debates in 2 weeks, right here on 12 News.
They have information. I think I'd take. There's nothing wrong with listening. If somebody called from a country, Norway, we have information on your opponent. Oh, I think I'd want to hear it.
That is President Trump earlier this week saying he wouldn't be against taking information about his opponents from a foreign government. Now we want to hear what you think about this. Should presidential candidates use information from foreign sources? Yes, it's fair game, or no, it's unethical.
You can cast your vote right now on 12news.com/bullhorn.
Plane plunge. One man's heroics to pull the pilot from the burning wreckage.
I just went in again and noticed that his seatbelt and his clothes were burnt off his body.
I was throwing up like every other hour and I couldn't keep anything down.
A vacationing Valley teen telling his terrifying tale of being diagnosed with a potentially deadly infection while half a world away from his parents.
That's my main goal, is just getting back to Arizona.
A sneak peek at what Mother Nature has in store for us this weekend.
And Chris Hemsworth, the Avengers star's very interesting first job.
Hey guys, Sienna Miller is my guest tonight. Plus, we have Josh Charles, Ryan Tedder, and music from One Republic. It's a great show. Do not change the channel.
You're watching 12 News at 10, where it's a matter of facts.
Wow. What's going on, Pat?